if you have not already seen it, Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, yes. Love it. With the Tesseract. Oh, the fucking Tesseract, man. That shit blew my mind. Yeah. This shit blows my mind every time, dude. Because I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And yet, I see it and I go like, that was a movie I watched probably 3 or 4 times. Because every time I watch it, it's like a different experience. You go like, okay, because it's one of those movies that the first time you watch it, you don't know the ending. Then the second time you know it, but now you're putting the pieces together. Then you got to get like a third time to really connect all the dots. But it is that's a hell of a movie, man. That shit does make me think about that idea of like the fourth dimension of time travel. And even shit like, if you believe in an infinite universe, I always say this, if the universe is not really infinite, I think that's the wrong way to phrase it, but ever expanding, which means like there's constantly explosions happening and it's getting further and further out into whatever it is. Then if it's infinite, there's infinite possibilities. And if there's infinite possibilities, that means there's definitely parallel dimensions. So there's a world where this conversation happens, and then there's another world where you are the fucking president, or, some shit like that. I don't know, man. If it's infinite possibilities, it fucking can happen.
I know they have so many theories, like with the fucking like wormholes, like that whole that part in Interstellar where they use the wormhole to go through. They go out to Saturn or whatever, right? And then they hit the wormhole, and then they're even further out. They're so many million light years away. They're at that point where they're on that planet. Every hour is 7 years.
Oh shit! That's the fucking craziest thing. The with the waves planet in Interstellar.
Yes, and that's the whole time shit. Every hour they're on this planet is 7 years back on Earth.
For the guy up at the top. The guy knows
his children are fucking aging like every fucking minute.
That's so fucking crazy, dude. And yet if you look at, I watched this breakdown of it on YouTube. Neil deGrasse Tyson did a breakdown of the science behind Interstellar, and they like nailed the physics. Like that shit is right. And then it's like the thing where you go like, well, what the fuck does that mean? What is a fucking black hole? What is a wormhole? And how did that fucker Einstein know this shit? Like the fact that he knew that gravity wasn't what fucking, I say Newton's a hack. I say fuck Newton because all that happened, here's the fucking thing. Newton said, oh, I dropped my keys and they land on the ground. That what goes up must go down. You fucking hack. Anybody could figure that shit out. Einstein said, no, you got to think about it this way. We're on a plane and we're pulling down and everything is pulling around us like that thing you drop your coins in at the mall. That's really what gravity is. So fucking Newton's a piece of shit and Einstein knew what was going on. That's my thing. I always say, people get pissed at me, say, you can't say Newton's a hack. It's a law. I say, gravity's not a fucking law. You fucking talk to Einstein. Einstein showed that it's not a law as much as we're on this plane. This, it's like space isn't like this empty void. Space is actually a thing, and we're pulling down on this vortex, creating the little spinning thing that's happening. It's fucking crazy. I know I'm not doing any justice to science right now. I'm shitting on science. I don't explain it well, and as a left brain or a creative-minded person, every time I explain science, I sound like an idiot. But still,
yeah, it sounds better in your head than it does coming out of your mouth if you're like me. And like it's, in just space, like sometimes like, I mean, not recently because usually I have a few beers in me and I just pass right out. But like in the past, I've like laid in bed and I've just tried to ponder the universe. And when you try to think about like how big it is and like, it's just like my head wants to fucking explode because it can't even comprehend. I'm like, there's no answers. You have questions like, how far does it go? Are there other things out there? And I just can't stop thinking about it. And it like keeps me awake at night sometimes. At least it used to. I mean, like I said, nowadays I usually have a few beers and I'm just out. But
that's why we get drunk, Pauly. We get drunk to shut out the fucking feelings. You shut the feelings out. Because it is like I used to have this thing where I'd be in like a bus and I'd be looking around and I would think about like the fact like, okay, I got my own world, my whole world, and it feels like everything. And then I look at a guy and go like, but he has his whole world and his whole everything. And then here's this lady in Walmart and she has her whole world and her whole fucking story. And then you start looking around, everybody's got their own fucking thing going on. And it's almost too much to take in. Cause you're like, it's like you are living in fucking Vermont doing the fucking Pauly V thing. other than podcast world, I wouldn't know you from fucking Adam. And you've had a whole life of whole experiences, of whole things that make you who you are. And your whole world is vital and important and meaningful to you. And if it wasn't for the podcast thing, you wouldn't know me. And I have that whole thing too. And it's like, there's what'd you say, fucking 5 billion, 7 billion fucking people with that exact same thing. It's too much to fucking think about, because we all live in our own little universes and we all think our own little experience is like the most important. But what we don't realize, this is my nihilism talking, is we're fucking meaningless. Truthfully, at the end of the day, it's fucking meaningless, because we live, we die, we have kids. I think it's why we have kids. It makes you feel like you're passing something on to the next generation. Because if you have kids, you go like, well, fuck it. I wasn't a total fucking waste of fucking existence, because I had a kid, and that kid will carry on my genes for what, like whatever, man.